Hey, welcome in everybody. Welcome to my live show here on a wonderful Friday. Thanks for joining us today. We'll see how many people we get in the chat here. I didn't really set this up too much in advance. Mostly what this stream is going to be is my chance to give away my channel membership giveaways that I do every month for channel members. They get a chance to win some free comic books. It's kind of my thank you for them showing some support for me. We have some really cool prizes. The first of which is going to be donated by Dangerous Waters Comics and More. And this is a Resident Evil Raccoon City replica badge. That's really cool. Kind of punctured the plastic there. Let's check it out, shall we? Oh, I see. Oh, that's just kind of a sleeve it's in. That's pretty cool. So they're going to get that. It's like a magnetic Raccoon City Stars badge. So if you're a Resident Evil fan, that's going to be very familiar to you. So that's going to be the first prize from Dangerous Waters Comics and More, and we appreciate their support in providing that. Also have just some kind of cool comic books that we pulled aside here. It's never anything that's like a mega key, but I think that's a fantastic cover. I think that a lot of fans of the animated universe are going to appreciate that kind of Wonder Woman, Superman dynamic. And then this is a comic book that I've been talking about a lot recently. I love it. The booty covers. I think it's just a cool cover. I mean, it's amazingly thick and everything. Can't deny that, of course, as Sir Mix-a-Lot never would. So I think that's a great comic book too. We're doing that as a giveaway. It's Zombies versus Robots #3. And then I pulled this from my collection. I actually had a double of this. So what was that? Got attacked by fuzz. I thought it was a bug. This is Divine Right. I don't even remember the issue number on this. I want to say it's like 5 or something. But how can you go wrong with that? Also booty cover, also foil. Jim Lee, Scott Williams. Nobody cared about this series like shortly after it came out, but hey, there we go. So those are the prizes. We're going to do the giveaway for those a little bit later, do a randomizer for those. If you're a channel member that's at the Bronze Age Hero level, which is $10 a month or more, or you've supported me with $10 or more a month through any of my, Ko-fi, wherever, I have an extra prize that will go to you down here that I swear should be worth it for you, I think. So there we go. So let's say hi to people in the chat. We've so far got Preston Eskridge holding it down, wondering what the nerd news is this week. And I agree. I actually was trying to think about that. I was like, well, I'm gonna do this live show. I love to talk about this. By the way, this is not a super chat giveaway show. I welcome your super chats if you want to deliver them, but honestly, I don't think it's going to be a big enough show to really kind of warrant a super chat prize. So we're going to talk about some news. I just saw one pop up in chat. That's a good thing to talk about. But I was struggling to think of what stories we'd really talk about this week. So I pulled up a couple of the news sites and we'll kind of go through them real fast and just see if anything catches our eye. And if anybody in chat wants to bring anything up, we can definitely talk about that as well, including this comment, which is great from Kilted Corgi. Welcome to the chat, Kilted Corgi. Have you back the HasLab Hiss? And here's my answer to that question. No. I've talked about the HasLab stuff in the past. I'm obviously a big G.I. Joe fan if you follow the channel. And I collect G.I. Joe figures, including the classified stuff, the 6-inch scale. So if you're not familiar with what Kilted Corgi is talking about, we're actually going to pull that up here in a second. We'll talk about it. It is a 6-inch scale Cobra Hiss. At first, I didn't love the initial design that they released for it, but they did introduce a retro backer reward for it that I think is a lot cooler, which I liked a lot better. That's the second tier. They've also unlocked a missile rack, and there's a couple other tiers that can be unlocked as well. I'm not backing it because it was what, $300, I think. I can't justify it. I get the cost. I backed the HasLab Sentinel. That was a major purchase for me for like a toy or figure or something like that. It's a lot of money. It's a lot of money for, it's going to be a big vehicle. I really like the Hiss. I got a couple of the retro collection Hisses that came out for the 3 3/4 scale figures. I just can't justify the dough for it. And I'm not even saying that it's not worth it. I get they have to make special tooling and all this stuff. I think they're still charging a bit of a premium that doesn't need to be there. If it was $200, I probably would have seriously considered it. I don't know. I just can't justify it, but we'll probably talk about that. That's some good news. Got Starset Comics in the house. Starset sent over some stuff. We actually might show some of it off later. I picked up some stuff from one of his sports cards auctions, and I'll just grab the two off the top here. He sent a bunch of really cool stuff over. But a couple Jerry Jeudy rookie cards there. Big Broncos fan, so I really appreciated that. So Starset in the house and a bunch of other cool stuff. He sent over like a Punisher pack from the Guns and Gunpowder series, and some sports cards too, of course. But we'll talk about that maybe a little bit later if we have time to kind of go over some of my pickups from the week. But thanks for joining the show, Starset. I appreciate that. Tex Squatson's coming in the house. I've never caught a live chat on time. Am I on drugs? Possibly. I'm not really familiar with your current drug situation. If you feel like you're on drugs, you probably are on drugs. If they're fun drugs, hey, more power to you. If they're not fun drugs, seek medical attention. That is my official Bronze Age nerd position on that. Kill the Corgi says better to save up for a USS flag. Oh my god, dude! Like somebody did the math on Reddit. I think it would be like 12 feet if they scaled up the old flag. It'd be 12 feet long. Holy shit. On the wait list for the Alex Ross Batman. Yeah, it's a cool cover. It's a cool cover. If you love it, you love it, of course, right? But I've just kind of moved away from those kinds of covers as much as possible. I still pick them up occasionally, but it is a sweet cover. So yeah, let's talk about some news. Let me get my screen share set up here. This is kind of a hassle, but we'll go to the HasLab. We'll check that out real fast since we were just talking about it. That's a good bit of news for this week. Okay. Let's add a screen share. All right. So, by the way, I hope that didn't sound like I was trying to poo-poo that Batman 125 cover. It's a great cover. People go nuts over books like that, and if you're going nuts over it because you absolutely love the cover, absolutely, there you go. If it's for another reason, then I think it's just something I don't want to waste my time with personally. But I get it. I get the hustle too. So yeah, $300. This is the Cobra Hiss. It's funny, if you look at it by itself, it probably doesn't look that impressive, because my mind wants to see that as a 3 3/4 inch figure, but that's a 6-inch figure. So that is pretty large. Do they have any pictures that really show the scale of that? Not really. I think that's kind of a mistake. Huh. Oh, of 9. What are the other last two? Yeah, there's no real pictures that show the scale of that. Okay, but yeah, we're looking at 11 inches tall, essentially 10.96, 19 inches long. I mean, that's pretty big. That's pretty big. Yeah, the Cobra insignia beacon. That's interesting. I mean, it's really cool. It's really cool. And here's the first the rocket pods are the first kind of stretch goal they've unlocked, and then the retro, they did some retro panels. Like there's a tread cover and a retro canopy. Do they not have the pictures up here for those yet? That were unlocked. I don't know why they don't have image of those, or maybe I'm just missing them. But it's pretty cool. I think that it's an iconic vehicle, so it makes sense. You know, if you're talking about on the Joe side, like what would they do? They would do something comparable to this. I see people say the Awe Striker quite a bit, which honestly has never been one of my favorite vehicles, probably because there's been so many versions of it. You could say a Vamp, a Mobat would make a lot of sense, especially, you know, tank to tank combat. I always like the air vehicles more. Like I liked the Dragonfly. Obviously, they did the retro collection scale Sky Striker. I didn't back that either. I think that was ridiculously expensive for what you got. Although a lot of figures, I will give it credit for that. It came with a lot of figures. The Rattler and the Tomahawk were two of my all-time favorites. A 6-inch scale, either one of those would be massive. So, oh yeah, that's part and parcel with the whole HasLab thing. But yeah, that is a long time for sure, and I think that's a factor. But I don't know. It's cool, but the part about, okay, so I guess here's what I'd really want to say. And this has been, by the way, it's worth pointing out, this has been successful. The target was 8,000 backers. They're already at 11,800 essentially. And they have 45 days left on this. As tiers get unlocked, people will jump on. Scalpers will go in and get their allotment or whatever that they want to sell. If this paves the way for 6-inch scale retail style vehicles, trouble bubbles, jetpacks, maybe an asp, stuff like that, that'd be cool. By the way, there's people that are hoping that an asp is part of the package for this, because the old school one could tow one. They have a tow hook. They have a tow hook right there. So it's really cool. It is big, absolutely. For that kind of money, I could buy the Canon Omnibus Volume 1. Conan Omnibus Volume 1 that prints the first Red Sonja appearance. You could. You just bought the second volume, right? That is also what she said. Yeah, absolutely. It's cool. It's big. I mean, this is kind of, personally, it reflects my financial situation currently. Money's tight right now. I've had, a never-ending series of car repairs you guys have heard about over and over again. Just, single income family plus whatever I can make from doing this. It's difficult to afford standard comic books every month, let alone go after things like this. So a lot of that's my current financial situation. Back when we were like a double income, we didn't have a kid, I would have been a lot more likely to back something like this. I wish they had a picture of it, because I like the retro canopy a lot more. Retro canopy is a little bit cooler. I think that's my least favorite part of this, is the red detailing there, which again, you can cover up with one of the newer unlocks they've had for it, and then that canopy piece. It's interesting. I did a video on the state of HasLab. What else do they have going on right now? They have the Reva's lightsaber. That's not doing well. 10 days left, 1,300 backers with a target of 5,000. Estimated shipping fall for Galactus, which is really cool. Victory Saber funded. Transformer stuff is always easy to fund, it seems like. There's the Sky Striker, which is badass. It is a very badass ship. Especially if you're a fan of F-14 Tomcats, if you're a fan of, the classic early G.I. Joe stuff, that was one that I really wanted to go after. They had the Spengler's Proton Pack. There's my bad boy right there. The not funded Rancor. It's interesting they still keep that up here as not funded. There's a few others that didn't fund that they don't advertise. That's interesting. Let's see what other news do we have here. Okay, cool. That's what you got. Right on. Oh, that doesn't carry over. Can I change the tab? No. I just got to straight remove that. Stop screen share. Add a new screen share. Share this tab. So we're gonna check out what CBR has to offer first. And I also pulled up comicbook.com. I'm 100% down to back to back any of your proposed HasLab stories. And anything you guys want to talk about, bring it up in the chat. Star Wars HasLabs have been in trouble recently. I think, Yeah, Star Wars stuff in general has been in trouble in a lot of ways, right? Oh, hey, Preston. Next time, buy your daughter a comic too. Oh, that's very sweet of you, Preston. Thank you very much. That's very sweet. Yeah, she's just sort of kind of getting into comic books, so um, I will definitely take you up on that. I appreciate that. Okay, so let's add this to the stream here. We got CBR. I'm not saying these are the best news resources, but they often cover the big stuff that's out there. Yeah, fucking Spider-Verse stuff. I'm so sick of Spider-Verse stuff. Uh-huh. All right. Yeah, a lot of people were angry about this. I didn't have a problem with it, but I'm not necessarily super attached to the character. I think I've watched the first 3 episodes of Miss Marvel, and honestly, it's fairly enjoyable. I watched it as a family with my wife and my daughter. Um, it's kind of, I think Perch was talking about this, and I totally agree. It's refreshing to watch a superhero show about a kid that just wants to be a superhero. Like that's identifiable to me. It's not like some angsty, post Watchmen, post Frank Miller deconstruction of superheroes, which I love some of those too, of course. And it's not some super stereotypical MCU adaptation of a character, like we got with Iron Man or Captain America, or even maybe Captain Marvel. So it's interesting. Seems how I'm always late to the party. Have you bragged about your kid yet and I missed it? I'm not sure what you mean, Tex. I mean, I've mentioned my kiddo a few times on stream. I try to keep her pretty separate as far as like on camera from the whole YouTube thing. I mean, to be honest, like if you follow my Instagram, like that is kind of my personal Instagram too, as well as the whole comic thing. So, on certain occasions, she pops up there. But yeah, I brag about my kid all the time. But I figure most people probably don't care as much as I do, so I try to keep it to a minimum. But yeah, she's absolutely amazing. So if you had a specific point there, and sorry I missed it if I did. Yeah, I kind of agree with that. I really only kind of read. I was kind of out of comics for a huge chunk of Miss Marvel's kind of influential period in Marvel Comics. I was out of comics for a good chunk of that, but I was around for the beginning of it, and I read it, and she seemed like a really cool character. I liked the first, I think I read the first couple of volumes or whatever in trade paperback of her kind of debut. And I'm not mad at the changes. I mean, I'm somebody who's generally a stickler for get as close to the comics as possible, but by now I've had to acknowledge that the MCU is just kind of its own thing, right? Like it's just they're never going to have a one-to-one translation of the characters. Now, where it's going to get sticky for me as a personal fan of Marvel characters is when they introduced the X-Men. I just happen to have an X-Men magazine, so I use that as a prop. When they introduce the X-Men, I'm going to have a problem probably with how they do it. And some of these other characters, I just enjoy the general theme of the character more than I need to have the literal translation. I do still wish that characters, their costumes, everything about them, I want them to be as close to comic book accurate as possible. That's just like an OCD part of my brain that kind of hopes for that. But I've kind of become okay with there's no way to easily introduce a character's exact origin and background because there's just usually too many interconnecting events. It's too confusing to convey in a series of movies, even with TV shows added. It's just a lot of information, a lot of like, well, if you don't have this specific, mini series events happen with its 14 crossover tie-ins, you can't properly explain how this character came to be. And so you do have to condense and change and make these sort of subtle edits. I don't always agree with them, but by and large, I've kind of become okay with it. I am probably gonna have a problem with how they do the X-Men. Just no matter how they do it, I'm probably not gonna like something about it. So I agree, Preston. And don't watch the last episodes of Miss Marvel. She goes bonkers and kills the whole town. The whole town being New York. Vary the boys. Shocking, really. That's pretty funny, Mark. Oh, okay. Yeah. So, okay, sure. Somebody honking around outside. Man, there's almost just too much, but like out of nowhere, we talked about G.I. Joe earlier. Almost out of nowhere, I was a big G.I. Joe fan, but I'm not like I'm exposing her like here's a 10-minute long episode clip from Transformers, from G.I. Joe, from Thundercats, whatever it is, real Ghostbusters. She loves Ghostbusters. I showed her like just one little snippet of G.I. Joe, and in my mind, I was like, she's not gonna like G.I. Joe. And there's a like, I think it's Hasbro or somebody does it. There's like a 24-hour streaming channel that just shows old episodes of G.I. Joe. And she saw that go by on the YouTube recommendations. She wanted to watch it. And she like is now taking her little Paw Patrol guys and lining them up and making them, say Yo Joe, and one of them's Lady J. And it's fantastic. It's really fun to see. We just showed her all the Star Wars films. My daughter's 3. She's going to be 4 in September. My birthday and her birthday and my dad's birthday are all in September, within the same week. Actually, it's pretty crazy. And as my only kid, by the way. And so we just showed her the original trilogy. We've read her stories, but we've like cut out all the important details. Like we didn't read, oh, Anakin is Darth Vader, or Darth Vader is Luke and Leia's father, that kind of stuff. We kind of skipped over those sentences. Like, we wouldn't say, no, Luke, I'm your father. We do actually what they did in the original movie when they filmed it. We'd say, join me on the dark side, Luke, that kind of thing. And so she kind of just kind of got all those things for the first time. It's pretty cool. So I'm proud of like just seeing her experience those things for the first time, and her development's insane. Like she's insanely advanced for a kid her age. I've been liking Miss Marvel and all of Phase 4. Honestly, I don't care if they don't follow the comics to the T. I like the changes. I like being entertained. That's about as much as the media affects me. Yeah, I like being entertained too. But I would say that a lot of Phase 4 for me has been disappointing. And I'm somebody who's I think a lot of people went into some of these movies and they're like, oh, they're kind of like some comic book cynics out there, right? And I expected to like Doctor Strange 2 more than I did. I liked Spider-Man No Way Home. I like that. I expected to like I think I liked Moon Knight a little bit more than most people did. I wanted more from it, but I mean, like a show leaving you wanting more isn't really a problem, right? Yeah, you and me are both big Rogue fans, and Jubilee's awesome. There's another magnet I have sitting right next to me. If you're not familiar, Cyclops is my favorite X-Men. Rogue and Wolverine are kind of tied for second. And I love a lot of the kind of OG 90s and previous X-Men, too, of course. Many characters, and there's so many, right? Yeah, for sure. 100%. Oh, that would have been interesting for sure. Yeah, she's 3. She is extremely advanced for a 3-year-old. I mean, she is getting close to 4 now, in fairness, but like reading, counting, telling time on an analog clock. She's in like the 99th percentile for height and weight. I made a joke. It's not really a joke. It's a metaphor, but it's not really a joke. That I'm training her to be a Jedi. Like I'm raising her as a Jedi, and that's kind of true. So knowledge, how to articulate herself, how to talk about her feelings, how to talk about, how to learn, those kind of things. I'm definitely interested in all that. Well, reading a little bit. I wouldn't say like she's not like reading books or anything, but she will read parts of books to you, from memory. She can sight read some words, cat. Zoom, a few words that come up kind of over and over for her. Yeah, definitely trying to. That's the best age ever. I wish we could put in a hermetically sealed jar and leave it on Frank and Wagnall's porch for a future reference. Yeah. Yeah, it's a fantastic age. There are downsides. Terrible threes are a thing, but yeah, it's a fantastic age. And like I'm very invested in this because I am a stay-at-home dad. It's actually part of what I was going to talk about today is just I realize my schedule, for those watching on the rewind, for those, watching this now, I realize my schedule has been all over the place, and I'm actually just gonna remove that for a second. So I'm realizing some stuff about myself, and I'm not saying I have this. I'm kind of self-diagnosing. Well, I am self-diagnosing. I think I've realized that I have, at least from what I can tell, something like adult ADHD. And especially when it comes to some stuff around executive function and what that affects a lot of, especially when I'm at home, I don't have like a work schedule I follow, and I'm around a 3-year-old all the time who's very impulsive on her own, of course, is I have a hard time like making a schedule and sticking to it. I have a hard time like wanting to complete things if they're frustrating or hard to do in one sitting. I have a lot of stuff like that going on, and I'm really working on that because I want this channel. It's been very flat as far as growth goes, and I don't want to be like at 50,000 subscribers or whatever. Like that'd be great. But it's not my only goal when I make this, and I'm very honest when I say that. I don't do this specifically for the money, but it is kind of like my job. So money has to be a consideration. I just will make the promise that anything I do on this channel, money is never the number one consideration. It's not the thing at the forefront of my mind. If it's like, hey, this is a great creative idea and it might be a popular video, those things are great to me. Or, oh, this might be a good partnership opportunity. But I also carefully check out the products and the people that I recommend and as businesses too. And when there's money involved in those things, I'm always upfront about it. The point is that I'm trying to get back on track, grow the channel. And it's not really to grow the channel purely for the sake of growth, but when the channel grows, I know that I'm hitting things correctly. I know that videos are resonating with people. I know they're sharing them. I know they're liking and commenting and doing all those things. And if I do that the right way, if I'm not doing it just through gimmicks and tricks, that's how I know I've been successful. And that's what I'm trying to do more of. And I have a plan in place to try to make that happen more often. I'm doing more live shows. I wasn't doing them at all for a while. I'm doing more of those every couple of weeks or something like that. I'll try to do one. Certainly every month for the channel membership giveaway, like we're doing for this video, which we will get to, of course. But I'm also, I'm carefully considering the video. I have a big list of video ideas, but I'm in this place right now where YouTube, and every YouTuber talks about this, the algorithm. And I'm kind of more pragmatic about the algorithm, but it does dislike me right now because I haven't been making videos. So when I put something out, it's not really trying to circulate those videos very much. It's not really trying to get, people to click. So I pretty much have to make a video that goes viral. And I mean that in a very like subdued sense, like a few thousand views, right? In a couple days. I got to make a video like that to kind of get picked up again. And so I am looking for those new, fresh ideas and how to do that. I have some great ideas. I want to be careful about how I make videos because a lot of the things are the cool videos I really want to make take a really long time to make. There are a couple days of filming, a couple days of prep work before I start the filming, and maybe a week or two of editing after that. And that's a lot. So I have to kind of be working on a couple of those videos while I make videos that I can get out on a more regular basis. It's a lot of work. And I've gotten to a point in the channel where it's like, I don't have extra time. Like no extra time is coming. If anything, I have less time than I used to. So it's really interesting. And luckily my daughter's at an age where I can get to that point where she can kind of self-entertain for a while, play in her room, that it's away from where I'm filming, and I can maybe film a little bit or edit for a little bit. And that's really helpful. Before it used to be like, I had to turn on the TV, and I don't love doing that. I do it for half an hour here and there or whatever, but that's kind of where I'm at with it. I'm trying to not burn the candle at both ends, because what was happening is after she'd go to bed, I'd get to work. And that's not sustainable. I can't do that all the time because I'm burnout. I've been burnt out for a while when it comes to that. So I'm trying to do it carefully. Let's see here. Yeah. And that's funny. That's one of the videos I'll be covering is about, I don't want to just, when I say mental health, I think that kind of brings to mind a lot of topics I don't necessarily mean. But when you talk about depression, OCD, ADHD, that kind of stuff, I want to do a video kind of covering some of that. And some of that was inspired by Psychotron, by the way, in some conversations I had with him. And plus some conversations I've had with other collectors and other content creators as well. Yep, I agree. Yep. Need to make an app. I've thought about it. I will just straight up tell you, here's what I really want to do. I really would love to create a news website that covers comics and nerd culture with journalistic standards being the most important aspect of the site. So getting scoops, getting news, all that stuff, secondary to being journalistically sound and not being a primarily editorial site. In other words, not being a site that's driven by opinions, but a site that's driven by news. And, it's funny because we're looking, I took it off the screen, but we're looking at like CBR, we're looking at like comicbook.com, which we'll look at in a second here. And these sites are very, very editorial heavy. I don't fully understand why. Another thing that, if you watch Comics by Perch, another thing he's talked about in some really, really important ways. There's not much, they take a lot of money, apparently. This is allegedly from companies, and they are willing to promote things pretty easily without disclosing it necessarily properly, that kind of stuff. That's what I hear anyway. And it's easy for me to believe because that's what shows when I look at these sites. There's a lot of opinion, there's not a lot of fact, and I'd love to do that, but I don't have the time for it now. Maybe in a few years it's something I would work on. Yeah, it's something that I definitely would love to do, Treasury Edition, but it's tough. Hey, well, I'm glad you caught it. Okay, cool. If your new schedule allowed for you to be on here, that's great. I'm probably going to be aiming to do Mondays, typically speaking. I've been trying to hammer out a deal with my parents as far as for like when they'll watch our daughter. So I can the goal is on like Monday afternoon, Pacific time, like late afternoon probably, to do a live stream, like maybe every 2 weeks, and then do a Whatnot auction that kind of is right after that live stream. So I kind of knock out, a Whatnot auction. We can kind of talk about it during the show, or, people from the show can head over to the Whatnot auction. Plus I'm already set up live. I can just have everything set up and ready to go, and I can just handle the live things I need to do and kind of do that every couple of weeks. So that's kind of my goal. It's kind of what I'm trying to work on. Hey, Copper Age Babe in the house. Speaking of support systems, which is something I would talk about when a couple of the topics that came up here, there's my support system right there, and I appreciate it a lot. Funhouse Comics says, how about the real stories about the dark side of comics, things that nobody wants to talk about? Now, I think to a certain extent, I actually do kind of cover that, especially when it comes to speculation. It depends on what you really mean necessarily, as far as the dark side of comics, the dark side of comic collecting, the dark side of comic speculation, everything, dark side of comics creation. Some of that's, stuff I don't have the firsthand insider knowledge on, so I wouldn't necessarily want to cover it. Some of it is stuff I already talk about. One thing I will tell you that, as I'm thinking about content for the channel and what I really want to do on the channel, I want to bring in more, instead of just talking about speculation, instead of just talking about anti-speculation and news, I also want to talk about stories and comics themselves and a little bit more about that kind of stuff. So that is something that I will be doing a little bit more. I've been reading, because I had through Xbox rewards with gold or whatever, I've had a subscription to Marvel Unlimited. So I've actually been able to catch up on a lot of the recent like X-Men stuff from the last couple of years that I've missed. Like I've been caught up through the Hellfire Gala, that kind of stuff. And I actually do want to talk about that in a video, for example, because mostly I'm usually behind on comic books. So strangely enough, I actually can't talk about them as currently as much as I'd like to. We are talking about news, though. I guess I won't even click on this. Obi-Wan Kenobi solves A New Hope's most tragic mystery. Sure. I don't even know what that article is, but hey, what's up? I love it. And I love all the support too. We did finish Obi-Wan. I won't go into massive spoilers. That show, if I made content and it did well about like every time I try to review something, it hasn't done very well. Either people don't care about my takes, or I think I don't get caught up as a review channel, so I don't get recommended to those people. Because if you don't know, like if I talk about comic book stuff all the time, I get recommended to comic book viewers. If I start talking about something that's outside my wheelhouse, I don't necessarily get recommended as much. It's kind of an interesting way that YouTube works. But if I talk about reviews on stuff, it doesn't really do well. But Obi-Wan was a very well done show that I had a lot of issues with. There's just things in that show that make no sense, especially in the final episode to me. And I think there might be slightly different than a lot of people's other problems with it, but I don't really want to go into spoilers on it because I don't know where everybody's at with that show if they've all watched it. But some real questionable choices in the writing of that show to me. But I think it was a well done show, and I actually enjoyed a lot of the individual like scenes and story beats are good, but like how they connect to the overall story, the overall Star Wars universe. Star Wars is in a weird place. And it has been ever since Force Awakens, because I loved Rogue One, I loved Clone Wars, I loved Rebels. I'd say since Force Awakens, which at least Force Awakens at the time, I was like, this is a much better movie than the prequels. But where that story went, I wasn't really a fan of. Anyways, my disillusionment with Star Wars is a tale for a different day. I'm excited for Prey. Strongest versions of Thor. Should have had Commander Cody in it. That would have been awesome. Let's see. How long has Catwoman been us? Oh, okay. So it's a spoiler, but we're just going to add it in the second line here. How long has she been a vampire? Cool. Good. See? Come on, CBR. What the hell? I don't really care that much, but how long has she been a vampire? What the fuck? I mean, I'm sure that's versus like DC versus vampires. Yeah, there's not much here I'm seeing that's interesting. God, every casting I see for X-Men characters just bugs me. Maybe Taron Egerton could do a good job. I don't know. I'm not saying he couldn't do a good job. It's just, I don't know. Wild She-Hulk rumor says Fantastic Four's Thing debuts on Disney Plus show. Okay. I don't know, man. I'm not seeing much here that's like newsworthy. So to me, that's what I mean. It just felt like kind of a slow news week. I do know there's one thing CBCS changed. They have like this tier basically that's like guaranteed turnaround time. They increased the prices on that and made it permanent. I don't know. I know that's big news to people. Look, here's the deal. I've said for a while now that CBCS really needs to be aggressive. They really need to be assertive and aggressive. I've had comics at CBCS that I had signed at Rose City Comic Con since September of 2021 that are delivered. That's all. I don't have any update on them. I personally contacted Steve Borak. I'm not telling about these, so I should make myself the larger image here. I personally contacted Steve Borak and made sure that they had the comic books, for one thing. This was a few months ago. This is when he was still with the company, obviously. And I said, hey, can we get those books pressed? Because I was under the impression they were supposed to be set for pressing, and that wasn't the case. Anyways, he put them in that tier. I guess the pressing thing now is going to be what's going to hold it up. I guess their turnaround time for pressing is basically almost a year. What the hell? I mean, that's just ridiculous. Yes, that's a good point. Yeah, I didn't really dive into the whole thing here. They did offer the money back guarantee, but they're also charging a lot more money for it. I think it went up from, I saw some stuff on the forums, and I might have this wrong off the top of my head, but I think it went up from like $58 in January to be like $134 now, like, which that's ridiculous. And on top of all that, and as much as I wish this wasn't the case, and I will happily pick up a CBCS book for a comic that I really want, and I think it's like a Bronze Age or a Silver Age key or whatever, I will happily pick up a CBCS book and get it for cheaper. But CBCS books do go for less. So the idea that, you know, they're going to charge more when CGC has somewhat fixed their turnaround times for recent submissions, not completely, they're not perfect. There's all kinds of issues. Don't get me wrong, but it's annoying. It's really annoying that CBCS, I feel like the Obi-Wan meme, we're talking about Star Wars, you know, you were the chosen one. They had this wonderful opportunity to rise up and really be the competitor to CGC. And they still are the competitor to CGC, but they're a paper dragon or a paper tiger. I don't know. It's just ridiculous. Oh, I appreciate that, Rob. Let's see. Starset. Oh, sorry. I missed this one too. Your idea and angle on the app is a great one. Definitely fills a niche. You should seal this vid in wax and mail it to yourself, because I think someone will take. Yeah, well, I mean, hey, man, if somebody else creates a comic news site that is full of journalistic integrity, I will be happy, and I will hopefully come work for them. The problem is that costs a lot of money to do, and I don't have that kind of money. I mean, I could do it on a very, very, very small scale, and that's probably what I would do if I had the time, but we'll see. Starset says, and I appreciate your concern though, but that's why I was willing to say it publicly. I don't think it really matters. It's so asinine when people literally put the spoiler in the same post, separated by a couple of dashes after one. Yeah, I got really frustrated with where are we at as a society? When can you talk about spoilers? Can I talk about Doctor Strange 2 openly without saying spoiler warning now? It's been out on streaming for a while, right? I don't know, but there's a big thing in that was spoiled for me by a lot of people, and I don't appreciate that. Yes, they did offer the warning, but we talked about that. Let's talk about how long we've been waiting for CBCS books. I can attest to the year press time. Yeah, it's ridiculous. So I want a true competitor to CGC, and I've looked at the landscape of what those competitors are, and I've found them wanting. And I don't necessarily think it's all their fault, by the way. But with CBCS, it seems to be a lot of self-inflicted wounds. And I wonder if Steve Borak held them back in some ways, because they do seem to be slightly more aggressive in making some changes now. Not necessarily the right changes, but they're making changes. I don't know. Yeah, it's ridiculous. Hey, optional choice. I appreciate that. Yeah, I definitely try to speak from the hip. I definitely try to cut through BS. It's kind of my big thing. And I like to play devil's advocate. It's the other aspect. I look, I want a grading company to compete with CGC. CGC, if they become the Coke or the, I hate to almost say this, the Apple, that doesn't really have to innovate very much. They kind of get to set their own standards. Look, CGC needs to fix a lot of problems. And it's clear that, people can bitch and moan about people submitting too many books to CGC and they should just stop doing it, or they should use CBCS. But when you need collectibles graded, when you want to get the most max retail value out of them, you have a high grade copy. I don't care what you say. A high grade comic book for a desirable key comic book is going to sell for more with a proven reliable grade behind it than it is raw 99% of the time. So there's going to be a demand for grading. That's just how it is. There's people that slab just because they want to slab. I do some of that too. There's people that slab because they want to pass their comic books on. And there's people that slab because they want to sell. I know there's plenty of people that are anti-slabbing. That's fine. I've always argued that I don't understand that perspective too much, because you can always crack the fucking thing out of the slab if you want to. But hey, whatever. I just, the people that are coming like, well, that's why you shouldn't be slabbing in the first place. I think that's kind of an irrelevant argument. You have the choice not to slab. You have the choice to crack the book out. You have the choice to try to just buy a raw. You have those choices, but that's kind of a tangent. I just think that, from what I've seen from the main competitors to CGC, we have a real problem in the space. And I'd love to see pie in the sky. I'd love to see like a collectibles company, or even somebody who's not necessarily known for being in the collectibles kind of sector, come into the market, bring in things like Overstreet as an advisory board, or try to stick to some strict standards. Boy, does this sound familiar? This is exactly what I want out of a pop culture news website. I want somebody to come in and just do it right. Have a pleasing to the eye case, have a integrity, have plan on scaling with the business. I don't know, whatever. I'm yelling at the clouds here. I can't tell if you're being serious or joking. If you're joking, that's funny. If you're being serious, I'm sorry, first of all. Second of all, it's an overrated movie. It's an extremely overrated movie, in my opinion. Optional choices welcome. There's some great content on the channel. Check out. Hey, yeah, absolutely. I thought you were talking about options for grading. But yes, absolutely. Thank you. Since Borak came from CGC, I wonder if there were legal issues that throttled CBCS competition. If so, I hope CBCS can now get more. I am completely speculating here. I'm speculating that Steve Borak didn't want the stress and the drama that would come with trying to be a real competitor to CGC. I think he was happy to sit back, grade books, and kind of just go with the flow. Oh, hey, yeah, for sure, Starset. Good luck in Sam's Club. I wish I had one near me. I actually would love to check one out someday. I've never been in one. Consistency with standards with welcome diversity. Yes, absolutely. We need, I say it over and over. I say it till I'm blue in the face. And by the way, I know you're new to the channel, so I know you probably haven't heard me say this before. We need options. We need competition. Like, I hate to use this example, but I will. You have a company like Apple, and you can say whatever you want about Google. You can say whatever you want about Apple. I don't really care. Having Google make devices and be in that competitive space, and having an install base, having Samsung be in that space, and be a real competitor, that's good for smart devices, for mobile devices, whatever you want to call it. That sector, that tech sector, that's good for innovation. it does things like drive technologies forward. It does things like drive costs to be a little bit more competitive. Costs are still pretty insane, but we're also dealing with a lot of other real world factors there, of course, just like we are with grading. We need that stuff. I think if it's anything like Costco from Idiocracy, probably like a week. I think that's the appropriate amount of time. Hey, what's up? How's it going, Rick James? I'm Rick James, bitch. How's it going, dude? Yeah. Anyways, as far as grading goes, I'd love to see some competitors. I'd love to be able to talk correctly. Okay, so let's just see what we had on Comic Book. Again, this was a weird show because as I thought about it, I was like, I can't really think of any news stories. Now, looking at some of the stuff I see, there's definitely some news stories that I missed. Hey, what's up, dude? Yeah, there is this. I just saw Mr. Bolo talk about this. Whatnot and Massive are joining together to launch Whatnot Publishing. High profile comics, including alpha betas, based on the viral hit animated series that I'm sorry, I've never heard of it. And Wesley Snipes' sci-fi noir thriller, The Exiled, which I'd heard about previous to this announcement. Inevitable. Starburns Industries Press is the editorial team for the publishing arm of Starburns Industries. Oh yeah. They're from what, Dan Harmon's company, right? I think. Interesting. So yeah, I guess Mr. Bolo was talking about this, big announcement, changing the game at Denver. I don't know. We'll see. I don't know what alpha betas is. Is that like people like that? I don't know. Sounds interesting. Bruno. I'm sorry. I'm reading this for the first time. I don't really see much in here that's fascinating to me. This should be interesting, but that's definitely news. As always, what I will say is let's see if the comics are any good. I don't know. Another video that I probably will be covering soon is kind of the current state of Whatnot. Something I covered in a poll recently. Are there too many comic book sellers on Whatnot? The overwhelming majority of you said yes. I tend to agree. So, it could be living it full time at Sam's Club. That's pretty funny. Spoiler alerts are GQ these days with all the media, Watch at Media, him, bootleg movie sites. I don't know, man. If somebody spoils something for me in the first month that something's out, something like what happened in Doctor Strange 2, they can go fuck themselves. Minor stuff, like if it's weird because that's a movie, and like with the current state of everything and people not wanting to go to movies and yada 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 and blah blah blah, I kind of understand all of that. I don't like going to crowded movie theaters, even if there wasn't a pandemic or an endemic at this point or whatever that you had to worry about. I still don't like going to movie theaters when it's crowded. I want to wait till the end of the run anyway. Not like 2 months or something like that. Although I have done that, I'm fine with that. But like I saw Top Gun like in its second or third week. I saw Doctor Strange like in its second week, I think. I want to go to a show that's a little bit less crowded personally. But when it comes to like streaming, like, so to me, if you haven't watched the season finale of Obi-Wan, for example, and again, I'm not doing the spoilers for that show, just out of courtesy, but from my own perspective, if you haven't watched that episode and you're subscribed to Disney Plus and you've been watching I don't know. I mean, I get it. I get that life comes up and you can be really busy, but I also think you kind of lose your expectation to to not be exposed to spoilers, right? Like I get spoilers on my like Google feed on my phone the day shit happens. And it happens pretty regularly and it really annoys me. But all that is to say, I get your point. I disagree about the larger the spoiler, like what happened in Doctor Strange and that appearance, you know, we all know what I'm talking about if you've seen it at this point. That is something that to me shouldn't be spoiled. Something smaller, like what happened in the end of Obi-Wan, to me that isn't as big of a deal. It's a sliding scale. There's not like a one size fits all thing. Careful with Wesley Pipes. He's broke and desperate. Yeah, he's been broke and desperate for a long time. Got Comic Journey in the house, the fastest hands in the business. Is DC Irish in here? Because we can see if we could have a hands off between them, a handoff. Good evening, gentlemen, gentlewomen, and gentle gender neutrals. That is a mouthful, but good evening to you as well. Here in the afternoon on the West Coast. I feel like it's the 90s all over again with all these indie publishers coming out. Yeah, there's a good point in that, buddy. And by the way, buddy, hey, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. It's a good point, but I think that's good for the industry. Like I like the competition. I like to see it in the space. I like good stories too, though. So if they're not good stories, I lose interest pretty quickly. The better question is, are there too many crappy comic book sellers on? Are there too many crappy? Like, is that an emphasis on the crappy? Well, yeah, but I think that's a good question. I think they're kind of intermingled. I'm going to make myself big again here. That's what she said. Yeah, they're kind of intermingled. But let's just say that if you had 100 sellers, you'd have 20 crappy ones. I'm making up a number here. Well, if you have 1,000 sellers, is it more likely to have 200 crappy ones or 400 crappy ones? I think that there's less good sellers to go around. I think it's like spreading. Let's see. How did who said it in Lord of the Rings? It's like too little butter spread across too much bread. Yeah, that's what I'll go with there. Hey, what's up, Otaku Tour Guide? How you doing? Welcome to the show. Happy weekend, everybody. Yes, and that's what I would always do. Like, it's tough on a live show though, because on a recorded video, I can be like, skip ahead or go to the next timestamp or whatever. On a live video, it's like, yeah, don't watch for 2 minutes. Turn your volume down. Then if I talk about it for longer than 2 minutes, it gets weird. Spoiler spilled equals killjoy satisfied. Yeah, that's a good point. A hand job. Yeah. It's like, it reminds me of the Family Guy thing. I think it was from the Star Wars specials or whatever. Hand jobs. I love that. Hey, what's up, guys? What's up? I need spoiler alerts to know whether to watch Doctor Strange and or Top Gun for maximum time efficiency when I'm not on drugs. I love it. Yeah, okay, for sure. I have not seen The Bear on Hulu. Let's see, what has Bronze been watching? Bronze watched Obi-Wan. Bronze watched I'm watching The Outer Range right now. I'm watching The Boys as it airs, more or less. I'm trying to watch Strange New Worlds, but it's just too many shows. That's the Star Trek show, if you don't know what that is. Miss Marvel. I think that's most of what I'm watching. I'm introducing my wife to Atlanta, the Copper Age Babe, so she's watching some Atlanta. The Bear, what's it about? Give me the elevator pitch. What is Ion Weekend? I'm out of the loop. What's that, Otaku? What the spoiler in Top Gun? Is it that there's a shirtless beach scene? Is that the spoiler? I don't like. Well, you see, there's fighter jets, and there's a dogfight, and they don't play nearly enough Kenny Loggins. That's the spoiler. Just watch the new episode of The Boys. I need to watch it. I watched Hero Gasm. Is the new one out yet? Are they airing on Fridays? I watched Herogasm, and I was super let down because I was told there was going to be lots of nudity and stuff like that, and there really wasn't. So I got 18 people in here right now. I've talked throughout the course of this live stream about some of the video ideas I have. I am curious. What videos do you want to see me make? I asked this question on Journo's stream about a week or two ago now, and he told me I should make a video about comic book storage. And it's kind of interesting. I did make a video, and I'm kind of currently producing it, kind of showing off a little behind the scenes here about what this place looks like, kind of what you don't see. There's a filing cabinet. My hand is right here. There's a filing cabinet here with a bunch of comic books in it. All my comic book boxes upstairs. I got slabs all right here. I'm making a video kind of showing how I physically store all my comic books. I'm going to make a video talking about like different methods of storage that I use and different tips and things like that. It's not necessarily like how to store your comic books. It's more of like here's how I do it, kind of a thing. And all that's going to lead into a collection show off series. People keep requesting like a look at my X-Men books, and I will show that off. So that's kind of, I'm doing that stuff. Like I said, I'm going to do some comics content review, look back, favorite creators. I have some stuff like that in the works. I am going to continue to talk about like top 5 not to buy. I'm going to record one of those later today, actually. I'm going to talk about, my look back at hot books, 3 and 6 months later, that kind of stuff too. So those are the kind of things I'm going to continue doing. And I have a whole list of ideas. The problem is a lot of those videos do take longer to make than I really have in a reasonable time frame. So I have to kind of spread out the long videos, work on those over time, and have more short videos kind of ready to go. You want comic haul videos? I kind of went away from those because for one thing, I cut down on my comic hauls for a while. That's funny. That's funny. I know you would for sure. Food. Oh shit, dude. Well, now I just spoiled it for everyone by highlighting your comment. So do one of sending out for grading and what that entails and the cost. So I could do that, but it would definitely be like a look back because I'm not doing any grading right now. I can't afford it. And if I had the money, I actually probably should do a submission because I probably have enough books to send in that would be purely for sale, coming out on the other end graded, and I'd make the most money on it. But I just can't afford it right now. Dude. Next, you're going to tell me they're not even using real enemy fighters, and they actually were just using training fighters as the stand-ins for the bad guys. Well, I really enjoy the top 5 not to buy, but topics like storage options are helpful. Of course, I always liked the shows with content creators, like that one with doing the Indiegogo. Okay, cool. Yeah, I'd love to do more of that. There's something I won't blow up their spot. There's somebody I'm trying to get on the show. Google thought I was talking to it. That freaked me out because I thought there was somebody in the other room for a second. There's actually somebody I want to get on that's doing a Kickstarter right now. And we'll see if that pans out. I should do a video spoiling Top Gun for Comic Journeys fans. What about possible specs for upcoming projects? The wilder the theory, the more fun it is to look for books. The Fourth Lion says. So here's the deal. I do not like to make spec videos for what to buy. And I have a few reasons why. Number one reason is I think it's a little hypocritical to do like the anti-spec, anti-FOMO kind of thing and make those videos. Number two, I desperately don't want people to go out and spend money and FOMO buy because I said something is a good buy. But it is weird. Like people have asked me like in private or whatever, like, hey, what do you think about this book or this thing? And I'll talk about it a little bit with them and give them my take. And that feels different to me. Like it feels okay. I don't know what the difference is. If I did that stuff, it would probably be popular, although probably less popular today than it would have been a year or two ago. It's something that people keep bringing up though, and I don't know, maybe I should. It would be the most boring list of all time though. Let me just put it this way: buy Nova 1. That's a really good book to buy right now. Anything that you know is coming to the MCU, just buy it. It's so stupid easy. Like I don't get it. But then the wild theory stuff, like I get what you're saying, and I enjoy watching that stuff too. I just don't think I'm the right guy to make those videos. Like I guess the one thing I could do is I could talk about that stuff in general, like the theory idea. That's an interesting concept. And just not connect it to the spec part of things. Maybe that'd be interesting. Are you saying he's a bit of a loose cannon? That's fair. I'm just new to all this and I look for a recommendation. Yeah, dude, for fun reads, 100%. I agree. I don't agree. I do agree. I don't know what I'm saying. This is poppycock. I don't know where this comic journey guy is coming in here and telling these lies about what happens in Top Gun. Everybody knows that what happens is it's a movie about two men who love each other and play volleyball, and that's perfectly fine. I will offer one spoiler for Top Gun Maverick. There's a bunch of people that love to play football on the beach, and they love to have two balls while doing this. There's two balls involved. And I have come to believe, and I'm adamant about this, that Tom Cruise has a two balls clause in his contract for any future Top Gun projects. There, you heard it here first, guys. I'm going to start a series called Buy This If You're a Moron. Would you like to collaborate? Yeah, I could collaborate on that for sure. Yeah, a code. Absolutely. 3. Way more than that. Way more than that. You need to learn how to count again, Comic Journey. I mean, look, if you want no spoilers at all, Top Gun is a movie. There you go. That's your spoiler-free review of Top Gun. So I just got the comment. Let's show off some hauls here. By the way, we are going to do the drawing for channel members. Yes, you can become a channel member. You still can do it. If you're watching on your device, there's a button down there somewhere that says become a channel member. It's confusing to explain it because people have different devices and people have different ways of doing this. But there is a way to become a channel member. If you become a channel member, you could win free stuff every month. I do a random drawing at the end of the month or the beginning of the next month, really. And in this month, we are going to give away a Resident Evil Stars badge. It is a die-cast Stars badge that is donated to us by our friends at Dangerous Waters Comics and More. IMAX only. Anything else? Watch out. Yeah, if I had a true IMAX near me, I would do that. I have an RPX. And there's, like for your huge MCU movies, I'll watch those in the theater. Top Gun, something, it has to have like a reason to watch it. I've got a perfectly nice setup at home, and I was a movie theater projectionist for Regal Cinemas for 6 years. I got super tired of watching movies with people. And then we got some booty books that we're giving away for this month's winner too. We got Divine Right, Jim Lee, Scott Williams. Gotta love that. It's a hollow foil booty cover. We also have Zombie versus Robots. Robots. I like it. Number 3. Love that cover. That's like the B cover. This is a super thick comic book, by the way. I think this was like $8 or $9, so that's kind of a cool prize. And then little retro action. I just saw this. I was like, yeah, I'll give this away. I think it's a cool book. I really liked these kind of, you know, Bruce Timian style variants. That's that Superman, Wonder Woman. And then if you were a $10 a month channel member, I have a special prize down here that I'll throw in as well. So those are the prizes. We'll draw those pretty quick. Let's see. Let's check out some stuff I had come in from a shipment. We're just gonna do this real fast. I'm not gonna go over it in detail or show everything. Love this Queen homage. That's cool. Just picked up a random, I don't think there's anything key in this issue or whatever, but Phantom Realms comics on Whatnot had some credit, so I picked up that. And the real thing I picked up from him, I've been wanting this book for a while. I didn't even have this. I used to have pretty much the entire run of this Wolverine run, and I didn't have this issue. There you go. Wolverine 17. This is like the John Byrne version of the Jim Lee cover that comes out. What is it? Is that 27, 23 or 27? I can't remember. But yeah, I picked that up from Phantom Realms Comics. Got a whole, you know, all the spec books from Things from Another World all came late. So that stupid Vibranium Man, this thing, whatever the fuck that is. Got a couple of those. Got a cool bunch of cool stuff from Starset. He did like a rad show. Love that Black Cat Virgin book. Pick that up. Got a couple of these from Comics Corner. They had these Starlight. Gotta like figure out where that glares at. These Starlight covers. These are numbered too. These are limited to 400. Mercado variants. Those are cool. Calculated Man, got a couple of these. Jeez, you'd think I'd figure it out by now. Oh, I got a whole bunch of these closet books. I figured these should be good, right? And then I got the 1 in 25 as well. I was transported to the 90s briefly and decided I should order that. You guys know why. If you're a fan of this channel, you know why I picked that book. Another one from Starset. I got Daredevil 25. First Elektra as Daredevil. And then from Danny Girl Comics on Whatnot, I got the second printing. I pick up those whenever I see them affordable. Love this. Got that one from Starset. Nice homage. Got a couple Pride books. I love this cover. Jeez, I can't find the glare. Yeah, I picked up some Doom a while ago. Picked up a little Gen 13 booty recently. Kinda. I like that sort of stuff. Bunch of Grimm. Got the FOC and the foil and all kinds of fun stuff for Grimm. I'm excited to read that. Got these from Comic Corner. Bunch of these Grimm fairy tale swimsuit books. There we go. That Doom 2099. That's maybe you're just asking in general. That's actually the old Doom 2099. Another one I'll pick up, the early Marvel Angela stuff. I'll pick that stuff up whenever I see it at a good price. Got this from Starset. I love. That's my favorite. I like that more than the original cover. I think that's cool. Love this. Get some early kind of cool J. Scott Campbell and Jim Lee swimsuit stuff in there. I just love this cover. I love it. Something about it just spoke to me as a comic book fan. I had no interest in this comic book whatsoever. Thought this was a cool Rogue cover for this is like this year's Hellfire Gala. Can't show that one. Yeah, people probably think this is cool. The new Spider Smasher 1 in 10 design variant. Yeah, I mean, I'm an unapologetic comic perv, but like, and that's actually a video that I will be doing, by the way. It's kind of the war on adult comics or the war on sexy stuff in comics. I like comic art, and you know, like that's a cool cover. To me, it's not necessarily overtly sexual. I mean, this is. I like that too, and I'm not afraid to admit that. You know, but you know, for all the, you know, Warren Lou, Poison Ivy stuff, I get some of that for sure. But you know, I also have like, I don't think this is sexy, but I think it's a cool cover. But this is super sexy. That's the sexiest comic of the bunch. You know, I mean, I get stuff. And then I picked up like I think I'm gonna miss one of these. I can't remember which issue I'm gonna miss, but the Magneto version of the Scorched connecting variants. But to the comment about the 2099 new stuff, I did pick up a bunch of these. There's a first appearance in there. That's Exodus 2099 number 2. Love this cover. Love this cover. I'm not even a fan of the sequel trilogy stuff, and I still think that's cool. Got some more Sprouse stuff. Like I got a bunch of these, the Bad Batch first cover appearance, I think, right? Love these. Pick these up from Starset too. These Thor Virgin variants. I think those are badass. We have Demons number 3. And then I really dig this too. Rogue, I mentioned, is my favorite character. I just think that's kind of a cool art style. Really like that. And then Inyuk Lee fixed this cover. If you see the early promotional images for this book, he had like this weird tiny hand and this like basic uniform on. I really like that. Cyclops is my favorite character. Had to grab that. It's way better than last year's Hellfire Gala cover that they did. So got that stuff recently. And then let's see, probably missing some stuff here. What stickers are you using to see? So stuff I got. So Things from Another World uses that sticker. They use those, and I don't mind those too much, because they're pretty resealable. They go on there again pretty well. Comic Corner, and that's just how it comes from them. Comic Corner uses these black circles, kind of a similar idea. Those don't, like when you pull that off, unless you're super, super, super careful, and I'm pretty careful with stuff like this, it's going to leave some residue behind. So I don't really like those. I seal my comic books like that. I have a masking tape dispenser with the blue painter's tape on it. I tend to prefer the 3M stuff to the Scotch stuff. Whatever, doesn't really matter. But that's how I seal my comic books right there for the most part. If I'm in a hurry, I might just do one. Let's see if I have any other styles in here of like how I've seen it done or how I do it. That's pretty much. Oh, but then yeah, so Starset got a bunch of this stuff from Spider-Man booth, and that's how they do it. And most of their stuff is just stuff from like Unknown or Comics Elite or the big, those kinds of shops. I don't know what kind of deal they have with them that they get all that stuff, but that's how they get it, I think. Thank you. Man of culture. Oh, no. Yeah, I'm just, yeah. It's super hot, isn't it? Do you mean doing a video on that? It's interesting. It's something I actually kind of do want to look into. Either that or like an S corp or something. So here's the deal. I have been to a handful of conventions my entire life. By the way, Michael, welcome to the show. I appreciate it. I've been to a lot of stuff in Portland because I'm in the Northwest. So Rose City Comic Con, Wizard World Con when that was a thing. I'm blanking on some other shows, but a couple Wizard World Cons, Rose City Comic Cons. I really wanted to go to Washington Summer Con, which was kind of a big show this year. Like Sergeant Slaughter was there. That's cool to me. And there was, Ian McDermott, the guy that played Emperor Palpatine, and the guy who did the voice of Master Chief, Stephen Downs, for Halo. And then some pretty cool comic book creators too, like a whole list of them. I won't even get into it. I wanted to go to that. I just couldn't afford to go to it at the time. And I am debating going to Emerald City Comic Con. I would love to go to Emerald City Comic Con. If I go, it's going to mostly be as a tourist though. And for channel content, not like to buy or partake, which is what I really want to do at a con. I really want to enjoy it. But as far as New York City Comic Con, I don't have the kind of money to travel to New York. I'm in Washington State, so traveling to California is difficult. So I don't think I'll be attending New York City Comic Con anytime soon. Doesn't mean I wouldn't love to go to it. I think it'd be fun. Well, it's a bright sunny day here in the Northwest. There's a giant window over here. I also kind of mess with the gain on my light, and it's a little brighter than I want it to be on my camera. I mean, it's a little brighter than I want it to be in general, but I also am getting washed out by a bunch of light. So, if Bronze is a perv, I'm a next level perv. That's funny. That's the Rogue was X-Men 11 from the previous volume. Provocative. Oh yeah, they definitely do. Yeah, the stickers can be kind of cool. Again, if they release well and if they seal back up well, they're cool. Optional choice, sexy vamps. I like you already. I missed that comment, but that's great. I love sexy vampires. Yeah, so here's the problem. Here's the problem with the dot. Well, I like it. I get why like Things from Another World does it or whatever. Here's what's going to happen if you use regular polybags and boards. You're going to end up with that, which drives me nuts. That's going to fold up in your comic book box. What I use for my comic books that are going to stay in my personal collection, just open the filing cabinet here. And this is, you can tell this is an older one I did because I only did one little like hand ripped piece of tape. I didn't have the tape dispenser yet. So this is probably 2 years old or something like that. This is Strange Academy, like fifth printing. I use fullbacks and Mylars. See how much shinier that is? That's a Mylar. You get, for one thing, you get a lot better clarity on the book. Kind of hard to tell because that's black and white. It's a lot hard to, I guess it's kind of hard to tell on camera with the light reflecting off of it, but you get a lot better clarity into the book with one of those. Yeah, same thing. I just hand ripped off some tape there. And now, because the same thing happens, I've learned over time that, when this folds over on a Mylar, you get like a permanent crease there that's really annoying. So I do 2 strips of tape on the edges of the flap to keep it in place. Better, basically. But yeah, I know what you're talking about. Hey, what's up, Paul? How you doing? Drafting dots. Have I had coffee with Bueller? No, I haven't. I've barely ever talked to Bueller. Not even not in person at all. Because a lot of the convention question and all that stuff going around. Um, I've met a community member before, Buddy, Buddy's in here, right? Met you at Rose City Comic Con last year. We kind of hung out, talked. That was amazing. That was a lot of fun. I really appreciated that. I've met creators, of course, at cons. I've met. This was at a GameStop event when I worked for them, and I met Todd McFarlane. I've met Kurt Busiek, Arthur Seidem, Bob Camp, a bunch of people. I mean, I probably would be a lot longer to list them, and actors and stuff too, and Matt Smith and James Marsters, just cool individuals, right? People I've met, like on that side of things. And most of that's, I'm not trying to overplay this here. Most of it was going up to them and getting stuff signed or having a conversation with them. When it comes to talking to creators, yeah, there's a lot of creators out there on YouTube that I've talked to behind the scenes. Sometimes those things start out as very private conversations, and they end up being very public conversations, right? Like Skeff from Skeff's Comics Knowledge. He and I had about one of my videos. We had a very close, conversation. So he said something I really appreciated. It really helped me out at a very important time in my content creation. And then he kind of started coming hanging out in my live streams. And then viewers like you guys were like, "Hey, get these two guys together in a video," and we made that happen. And that's the kind of collaboration stuff that I love to do. There's plenty of other, I'm not going to just sit here and name drop or whatever, but there's plenty of other content creators that I've spoken with. All of it's been online, all of it, phone calls to that kind of stuff. But yeah, it's just a lot of it's geolocation based. There's a lot of guys up in Seattle. I don't live in Seattle. But you got your Buellers and you got your Comic Toms and Mill Geeks up there. And I'm forgetting there's another fairly big content creator up here in Washington that I'm forgetting, but there's a lot of those guys up here. And I would definitely say hi if a lot of them probably don't even know who I am. I'm still pretty small on the whole YouTube thing. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that, brother. Are you going to Rose City this year? To be determined. I'd rather go to Emerald City than Rose this year because I've never been. I'd rather go to that. If I could go to both, that'd be great. I don't know that that's going to be feasible. Yes. They have stories. Yes, they are. You're gonna go on Friday? I'd love to go, dude. I really would. Did everyone kick the lick button on the nuts yet? Okay, I admit it, Comic Junior. You are definitely pervier than I am. That's hats off to you, sir. Like, not lick. Oh, okay. Well, there you go. Hey, what's up, Sheely Show? Same here. Unfortunately, I didn't know. I don't know what that was in reference to, but I'm happy to see you here. Welcome to the show. Yeah, press it nice and gentle. Really massage the button before you deep dive into the subscribe. What's up, Pete? It's been weird. Let's put it that way. I've kind of gone into it in the show a little bit. I don't want to rehash everything, but I appreciate you asking. Trying to get back on schedule, back on track with content creation. It's been a rough couple months for a lot of reasons, and I'm trying to kind of reset, recalibrate, and go into it with the right attitude. The Guru in Seattle. The Guru? Which Guru? From most community members. Well, it's not really a ban so much as it was a organized treaty where we all got together and agreed that you shouldn't be allowed to participate. Oh, I guess that kind of is a ban. Sorry, that is, you're right. That is a ban. Correct. Hey, Johnny Boys Comics. Hey, we're about to do the drawing for the monthly membership giveaway, and you are one of those members. I appreciate that. How you doing, Johnny Boys? No. Preheat the oven before you stick in the turkey. That's the way you do it, Comic Journey. Don't worry, we'll sort you out. We'll get it all taken care of. So I'm gonna get the list. Actually, speaking of the giveaway, I'm gonna get the list set up for the giveaway drawing. List randomizer. And share that tab too. So real fast, because Johnny Boys Comics just reminded me about this, I want to go through here and thank everybody. These are, I love it. I love it. I love it. I took a very long break from doing that, and I recently got back on the horse. I don't know how really you want to say that, but I am glad. I'm glad. Got DC Irish. Love to thank DC Irish for being a channel member. Preston Eckridge, always a fantastic supporter. Buddy, great supporter. He Who Remains. Love all the support from everybody on this list. Starset Comics, Chester Benson, Collector P, Jack B, who's won 2 months in a row, by the way, I might add. So if he wins again, we should all be mad at him, right? I won't be because he's supporting me, but I understand what you guys would be. Johnny Boys Comics in here in the house right now, just like a couple other fine individuals. X11 Bravo Comics, and always a fantastic member of the community, and Headless Hammerhead. Another fantastic member and the owner of Dangerous Waters Comics and More, who you hear me talk about quite a bit. Some special, not everybody on this list is, as far as I'm concerned, is awesome. You guys are the ones that help me do things like have my StreamYard membership, which is what I'm streaming through right now, my Cover Price membership, so I can do my 3 and 6 month later look backs, those kinds of services. Your donations are what I use for those services, so I very much appreciate that. When it comes to people to follow, I'm only going to do this if I know you have social media. If you have some kind of different thing that you want me to do, go ahead and let me know. DC Irish, I know, has a channel. Definitely go give him a follow. Preston does not have any social media channels I'm aware of that you should follow, but every time he's in the chat, realize that he is a good supporter and a good booster of the community. Same thing for Buddy. He Who Remains. Starset does have a Whatnot, has a YouTube channel that I think he's pretty rarely posting on, and an Instagram. I'd recommend go following all those things. Chester, I don't think you have any places I should plug. Collector P has an Instagram you could go follow. Jack B has an Instagram you could go follow. Johnny Boys, do you have anything I need to know about, anywhere I should send people to go check you out? X11 Bravo, definitely go follow X11 Bravo. He is a great supporter of the veteran community and active duty first responders. Those sorts of people are all kind of people that they take care of with the Project Slab Vet program that I am very happy to help out with and be a part of. Speaking of which, I don't have a date set for it yet, but I am going to be doing my second all charity, 100% of the profits go to charity auction on Whatnot. My first one was for MAD, because we had one of my viewers that was a victim of drunk driving, and we decided to do a awesome charity event. We raised over $500 and donated that money to charity for MAD. That was awesome. This one, I am happy to announce officially that we are going to do a Mission 22 charity event. Mission 22 is a charity that does awesome work with veterans and especially assists in prevention and awareness of veteran suicide rates. So I think that's something that's extremely important and valuable, and a cause that I'm happy to support. It's going to be an all charity auction. All proceeds are going to go to them, and I'm aiming to do it at the end of the month. So I'm giving you about a 1 month notice. Last time, a lot of people wanted to send in books so that I could auction them off. The theme of this show is going to be superheroes helping out real world heroes. So any superhero comic book, your Spider-Man, Batman, Spawn, Superman, all your core heroes, team books, whatever, Wonder Woman, X-Men, as long as it's a hero, right? As long as it's a hero, I think it's a pretty broad category. I'll let people kind of send in whatever they want, and I'll definitely put up some of my own books that'll be part of this. Depends on how much people send in. If you want to send stuff in, just let me know. Contact me through Instagram, contact me through email at thebronzeagenerd@gmail.com. That is thebronzeagenerd@gmail.com. You have to have the on there. You can contact me on Discord, any of those ways, Twitter, wherever you want to get a hold of me, and I'll accept those donations. I'll tell you where to send them, and then you'll know that 100% of the profits of those books are going to go to charity, and we'll start promoting that show here pretty soon. So that's really cool. It's something I'm proud to be a supporter of. Oh, I missed some comments here. You're talking back. Flying on the Clouds. Nice. Don't forget, you have to show off my weird book of the week. Not that I'm a member. What? Are you typing drunken game comic journey? Oh, now that you're a member, I got to show off your weird book of the week. Oh, by the way, you did just join. Since you just, by the way, I really appreciate that. You will be thanked at the end of all my future videos that are going to be made. There's a little thank you screen, and you'll be eligible for next month's drawing. This is last month's drawing. So just to be clear on that. Hold on. We've got an important note here from Figure Drawing. There is some. So he's talking about this book. So let's get back to some important stuff here. Okay, so has a dope Brian Stahl. So I looked through here. Brian Stahlfreeze. Jesus, they made that hard to read. Who's the character? Because it's really hard to read the table of contents. Now you got me curious. The shiny girl from Wildcats. Okay. Here's J. Scott Campbell. Back when he was Jeffrey Scott Campbell. By the way, whoever, I can't remember who said it. I appreciate that. It's really bright in your office. This is my dining room, but I appreciate you saying that. Just thought I'd let you know. Silvestri and Scott Williams. It's kind of cool page. I mean, there's a lot of, oh, okay. I see what you're talking about. That's like the centerfold. There's another one in here that I really liked. There's some Equal Opportunity and some Adam Hughes there. There we go. I wish Jim Lee would do stuff like this still. I'm not saying like it should only do stuff like this, but do more like that, Jim Lee. I love Batman, but we can branch out. Is there anything else on here that's like, oh, Chiodo, man, I miss Chiodo. Chiodo right there. Kind of did a lot of like Gen 13 and that kind of stuff. All right. Well, anyways, I had to look. I was told there was something awesome. Michael Reyes, you're asking about the Cobras. We talked about it at the top of the show. We talked about that. I kind of did the overview of the project, the HasLab project. I am not backing it, but that's mostly due to financial reasons. Gus asks, has the comic boom bubble popped, or is it still firing on 4 cylinders? I'd say it's rolling right along, steaming straight ahead at 2 cylinders. Look, the bubble popped, but it's kind of like what I predicted, actually. In my mind, the market is still pretty strong compared to where it was pre-pandemic. And I think that we'll see, the correction will have, in my opinion, what we'll see is the correction will have been a net positive for comic books. After it's in the rearview mirror, we'll see that correction not as such a negative thing. But I will tell you, it's definitely like a low tide lowers all ships too, right? Nice. Yes, he's a fantastic guy. I'd love to see you back on Whatnot, buddy. Oh man. Hey, Kilted Corgi is also a channel member. Did I not highlight? I probably didn't highlight Comic Journey. We have to do that too. That's fantastic. We have 2 new channel members. I appreciate it, guys. You are a cool kid now. Okay, yeah, I'll handle that real quick. So I love telling this story because it's fun, right? So the pandemic happened, and I had thought about doing a YouTube channel for a while. I do not want to get seriously into this for a second, but I'm a shooting sports fan. I enjoy shooting firearms. I wanted to do a YouTube channel on that back in the day. YouTube cracked down big time. You basically can't make revenue from doing that kind of content. So that was one thing I was going to do. I worked at a gun store and all that kind of stuff. I have a lot of interest. That's one of them. And then I thought about doing a Lego channel. I'm a big Lego fan. Let's see if I can do this without spilling everything here. Like, this is literally off camera. I'm not saying this is like the coolest thing in the world, right? But have that. I mean, I have a bunch. That's just what I can grab. I had to take apart most of my sets because I just don't have room. I don't have room for everything. So I thought, okay, do a Lego channel. And I was like, man, there's so many really good competitors in the Lego space. And then comic books came along, and I was like, comic books, I don't have to like constantly be building Lego sets. I don't constantly have to go outside and film stuff. I don't have to, there's a lot of things that I'm interested in. I don't have to be as outside active to do those things, or the videos don't take as long to make or edit. So I kind of settled on comic books because it's something I can talk about a lot. It's kind of a never ending subject, really, in a lot of ways too. And on top of that, it's something I could do inside. Again, we're talking about the beginning of the pandemic. We were in lockdown. A lot of outdoor stuff is fine, but a lot of things were shut down, all that kind of stuff. And I wanted to learn video editing. I wanted to learn SEO and cameras and thumbnail making. Like another interest of mine, I used to run a dispensary. And when I ran a dispensary, a lot of what I did is social media creation and making ads for their like Instagram and that kind of stuff. And when I did that, it was, I kind of had this background of like sort of doing graphical design stuff, not like fully, of course, but so I was like, well, I can use that and grow that knowledge and learn how to do some more photo editing and kind of graphic creation. And so I kind of started doing more and more of that. And I wanted to inject that into what I was doing. And I really just wanted to like acquire a skill that I could work at more and more. Now, at the time that I started the channel, I had a job. I got laid off. I worked as a data analyst for a company that was attacked by a ransomware attack, and they decided not to extend any IT positions where, they considered that to be IT, that weren't related to fixing the data breach and the ransomware attack, which was in their particular business, a hundreds of millions dollar project probably for them. So I understand why they did that. So they laid me off. And at that point in time, I couldn't really find childcare. My wife works full time. I couldn't really go find a full-time job because of the childcare problem. Our daughter wasn't we weren't really comfortable handing her off to childcare, and we couldn't find childcare. So it was kind of like, even if we wanted to, we couldn't. So this sort of made sense. I sort of, started doing the YouTube thing full time, and I sort of started doing the Whatnot thing afterwards, started doing like online auctions to sell some comic books, that kind of stuff. So I don't care. What weird book do you want me to show, man? Shout out to Canada on their day. So that's kind of the origin of my story. What is it, Canada Day? Let's see. I talked about that already. Yes, it is. Agreed. Yeah, right. Well, I mean, that special's from the 90s, though. So you think it hasn't really popped? I think it's sort of popped, basically. Hey, what's up? How's it going, Johnny Boys, Nana? Hope you're having fun. Yeah, I mean, so I said, a low tide lowers all ships. I mean, high tide raises all ships. If inflation starts to be curtailed, and I think that'll happen, my personal expectation is that inflation will start to get better or level off in fall, and I think we'll have a mediocre but not strong Q4. That's my personal expectation. Not saying that's what's going to happen. That should help comic books quite a bit. Yeah, I ran a couple dispensaries. Okay, so it's Canadian Independence Day. Well, hey, what's the appropriate salutation? Happy Independence Day for Canada? Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Although they're still what? They're still part of the Commonwealth. They're still have the Queen on their money and shit, right? So, well, so I think it just depends on what you mean by popping. But the pop, look, here's the deal. You're not going to see this whole modern book. What's a good example? Like God of Hammers or whatever. That's not going to be a $30 book if that came out today. That'll be like a $20 book, right? That's kind of like the way I look at it. You're going to see massive, what's the right term? Massive, not depreciation, but undervaluing of modern books. But I think it's going to be decent for bronze, even copper keys. I don't think you're going to see as much loss there. Does it mean prices aren't going to go down more? No. They're still going to go down more. There's a lot of delicate shit going on economically right now. And I don't pretend to be an expert, but what I can say is it could definitely get much, much, much worse before it gets better. I predict that it's not going to get as bad as it could get. But I can't see a timeline where it gets better, like as far as like the boom economy we've enjoyed the last few years. I don't see that happening again. But I can see kind of a less impactful version, and I can see a almost doomsday scenario. I don't think it's going to be the doomsday scenario, but I mean, it's definitely possible. And it depends on which school of thought you're in. But I think there's ways in which it's going to get bad again, or continue to get bad, however you want to look at it. I do think that is true. But I think the people who are primarily into comic books that have a lot of disposable income will be less affected by those issues than by people in lower income brackets. People like myself, actually, to be honest, are going to be more affected. I'm not in a normalcy high income bracket. I live like I was for a while, but we're not. and we need, kind of are realizing that more and more. But people that people that are actively hunting for Hulk 181, stuff like that right now, I think they're going to be just fine. They're not going to be like there's going to be an effect on them. But they're the people that are going to be looking to take advantage of the situation. They're still going to be interested in the market. I don't see that disappearing. That upper middle class, which is kind of a misnomer, but that upper echelon of people that have disposable income, they're not going to be affected the same way. Will they cut back and make little changes to how they collect? Sure, they will. But I don't think it's going to crash the entire market. We're a market that's largely supported by people like that. People that have disposable income and are willing to burn it on comic books. And the last couple of years have helped comic collectors realize that there is money in comic books. There is potential. Doesn't mean that I think people should go out and spend a bunch of money collecting comic books or investing in comic books. Absolutely not. I think right now is a terrible time to do that. I think we're in a bear market that could very easily turn into a ugly market. I think you can still call your shots and kind of select certain things and do pretty well. But I'm just saying that even though I don't think that's the right thing to do, people are still going to do it. That's the way I look at it, basically. Yeah, it's tough. I'm thinking about that. Like, I think it depends, right? Like, yeah, it'll take a hit, but what if he shows up in a trailer? I think we're getting closer and closer to that. I am going to do a small spoiler for No Way Home. They told us in No Way Home that we were getting Miles Morales. You can say whatever you want about whether or not it's confirmed. They said in that movie, what about a black Spider-Man? Come on, man. They're talking about Miles Morales, obviously. And you can say, oh, it's just an Easter egg. It's just reference. No, it's not. They're bringing him to the MCU. Here's the problem. And it's a problem I've suspected with Miles Morales for a long time. And I own an Ultimate Fallout 4 that's triple signed, 9.6. I've got it sitting away ready for that. Tons of people have that book and are expecting to move it if you see Miles come to the MCU. So that's been a tough book for me to kind of really gauge interest in for a long time, because the price will go up because there'll be movement on the book. But does supply outstrip demand, especially from people that can afford it? Because a lot of people already have invested in it. I think a similar book to that, by the way, that you have to be careful about is High Republic #1. So, which was heavily printed, big time, but there's a lot of first appearances in that book, and there's a non-zero chance that we are going to see those characters on the big screen. In fact, it's almost a certainty that we're going to see some of those characters on the big screen. So that's a good question, Pete. I don't know. Yeah, that's of course. Buy-in is always a huge part of investing. In the first one, I don't know. The first Spider-Man movie in Homecoming, I don't remember that, but that doesn't mean that could just be my memory. Daily Bugle was 300, Optimus Prime for 179 at the Lego store. Yeah. I mean, Legos are still. There's an argument to be made. There's a Lego index or something, right? Legos can be a really good investment. And it's actually bugging me that I'm saying Legos because it's always Lego, never Legos. Lego can be a really good investment. Into the Spider-Verse, you mean? That's a good one. All right, guys. So I do got to kind of wrap this up and do a drawing. I've been live for a long time. I've had a lot of fun hanging out with you guys. Now that I remember, Donald Glover said his nephew was Miles at the Spider-Man. Did he? Yeah, because I mean, I remember there's the thing with his character, but did he actually say Miles? I mean, I guess I have to trust your memory there, but I don't remember that. So we talked about the list earlier. Here is the list of the awesome people who have supported my channel. We have 2 new names from the stream that are getting added to this list next month, and I really appreciate that. As I've mentioned before, the more people that we have that are channel members, the better I'll make the prizes. So if we have, yeah, he was Prowler, but I'm trying to remember if he actually said anything about Miles. I don't remember him name dropping Miles, but again, I could be wrong. Something I'll have to look up after the movie. I thought it was more of like a tongue-in-cheek appearance that he was like, you know, because obviously he wasn't powered up or anything like that. But we'll see. Because I have a feeling if you see Miles come into the MCU, I have a feeling it would be an alternate reality version of Miles that comes over, like already established. Maybe even the Spider-Verse Miles comes to live action. I don't know. You know, we'd have to see. A nephew, right? But did he name him by name? I don't know. Yeah. Well, without pulling up the movie right now, it's kind of hard to say. But I definitely remember him being Prowler. I just don't remember the rest of that. Let's do this drawing. I'm going to randomize this list 3 times. We'll have our winner for who is going to take on those comic books. And if they're one of the $10 a month members, the heroes, then they're going to get an extra prize too, which I'm excited about. There are 3 people on this list that are heroes, and I know probably on there, so we're clear about that. I want to double check to make sure nobody else upgraded their membership real fast, so give me a second, because I don't want to miss out on anybody getting that possibility. Oh, damn, Journey, you joined as a hero too, dude. I appreciate that. Thank you. I'm blown away by that. Thanks a lot, man. Okay, Starset, X11, Headless, and as of today, Comic Journey. So that's really cool. Okay, so we're going to randomize this list. I'm going to do 3 drawings on it, and then the winner will be the person that ends up in the number 1 spot. So here's the first drawing. Jack B won again. No, I was kidding. He didn't. We got to do it again. 2. Buddy would have been our winner. Let's see. Number 3. This is for all the marbles. Collector P is our big winner. Collector P is not a Bronze Age hero. I'll show off what that prize would have been. So Collector P, if you watch any moment from this video, hopefully you're watching right now, he would have won the, I'll remove that, the Monkey Prince gold foil red envelope sealed Monkey Prince number 1. That would have been the extra prize we would have thrown in. You get the Resident Evil Stars badge. I kind of call this like the Bruce Timian variant. I can't remember who the artist is actually on this, but that's pretty cool. And then you get the Booty book, Zombie versus Robots thickness, and you get the Jim Lee, Scott Williams Booty book as well, foil. So that's your prize, Collector P. Collector P is an awesome supporter. You know, one of the first people that came over and joined the channel, like quite a few of you, back when I was just a viewer of economics and comics and kind of learned that I was doing a channel and came over. That was awesome. So I appreciate that quite a bit. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So let's see what else. Anybody else have anything they want to talk about in chat? Throw it out there now. Throw it out there now. Probably going to wrap up the show here pretty quick. Went longer than I expected, but that's fun. We had a good conversation. We talked about a lot of cool topics. I've only lost 2 subscribers since I've been live. What the fuck? Apparently I pissed off some people. That's funny. I lost 2 subscribers since we've been live. I've lost 6 subscribers in the last few days. I think a lot of that's because I don't make videos. What happens is a lot of subscribers on YouTube are fake or they're bots or whatever. And I think YouTube kicks them off, so you kind of lose some viewers that way. Yeah, happy 4th for sure. Have a safe 4th of July on Monday, everybody. Yeah, I mean, I don't really know a lot of ways to actively celebrate it. You know, I could pick up some of the Pride comic books, support anybody who is LGBTQ plus. Like, I support anybody who is a good person and a human being. So I absolutely support Pride Month. But I don't really know a lot of ways to like actively celebrate it, especially in my area. But yeah, I'm open to suggestions if you have any good suggestions. But I would say happy Pride Month, everybody, too, for sure. But yeah, happy 4th, happy Pride Month. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, and I had a couple. Might have missed my and I buy every year. I buy some. Got DC Pride 2022. Haven't read that yet, but I'll get a chance to later. And then I got the variant cover too with Harley and Poison Ivy on it. But yeah, it's it's a weird landscape with some of that stuff. Like, I definitely support it, and I should make a post about it too, because it's weird because it's a month. For every holiday, you know, I made a post, you know, like on my Instagram and Twitter, stuff like that, for Father's Day, and I did one for Juneteenth, and I try to support every cause like that. But some of them, I'm just ignorant of the best way to support them. So, and I do like things like the charity auctions, but that's like every 2 months, and I kind of will randomly pick a cause based on what's going on. So I did MAD, like the first one I mentioned. We're going to do the one to support veterans in Mission 22. I think my next one after that is going to be dedicated to mental health in some capacity. I haven't decided which charity, but that's the way that one's going to go. I suppose if I lined them up better, timed them out better, maybe I could do one for like Black History Month, Women's History Month. I could do ones for those maybe, and Pride Month maybe too. So those are different ways I can support too. But yeah, 100%. I love everybody. I think every human being is important. I think that everybody's free to make their own choices, and they should be supported in what those choices are. Because it takes a lot of courage to be anything other than, I'm going to say, generic, right? Because it's a tough world. The dumb things I have that are different than other people, which are not very important, really. I get persecuted for those things throughout my life. I can only imagine dealing with some of those other things. So it's tough, and I support anybody who's got that going on. And if I can help in any way, let me know. See, what else? I'm trying to think. So I am going to try to do a Whatnot show pretty soon. I originally planned on doing one after this show, but the show ran long, and I'd want to film a couple videos instead. But I will probably get a Whatnot auction scheduled over the next couple days to run. If you have video ideas and want to support me in any way, let me know. As far as that goes, if you want to join my Discord and be part of the conversation, let me post a Discord invite link in the chat. Because if you enjoy being part of these conversations, that's the best place to come hang out and talk. Stop screen sharing. Just slows everything down. So there should come through. That's the invite to the Discord. Trade a membership for comics. What do you mean? I'll give you a second because there's a little bit of a delay too. But yeah, if you want to come join the Discord and hang out, that's a great place to talk about stuff. Great place to show off your hauls, a great place to talk about news, to post news, to get, if we know about a new character coming out, we try to post the news for that kind of stuff. Talk about news, talk about TV shows and movies, share booty covers, sexy covers, that kind of stuff. I'm curious, what do you mean optional choice? Trade a membership for comics. Like, I'm having to guess here. Do you mean send me comics in exchange for membership? I can't. I literally can't do that. Like, I can't make that work. Yeah, it's just like a weird. It's a weird thing. Like I like the second part of what you said. I think being a good human to others that don't look or act like you is great, and that's what I agree with. I think it's important to show support for those kinds of groups, which is why I make those kinds of posts. It's a tough, like, I never thought about like months are a lot tougher one, because like it's a holiday, it's kind of on my calendar and I'm like, oh yeah, like I should probably make a post about that kind of thing. It's almost more of like a out of sight out of mind kind of thing. So let's put that to the question here. Do you guys want to see a YouTube auction? Is that something that would be better? I'm still waiting for optional choice here to chime in on what that meant. Because if I do a YouTube auction, I'm not opposed to it. A run of titles for a membership, those books go towards prizes and giveaways. So optional choice. And by the way, I sincerely appreciate you coming in and being new to the channel. I don't understand exactly what you're suggesting, and that's the limitation of communicating over a chat in a live video. You can hit me up on Instagram, Twitter. All the links are in the description below. You can go join my Discord, and you can DM me. You can talk to me publicly on those places, however you want to do it. Let me know what you're talking about, and I'll see if it's something we can work out. Okay. You think you'd prefer YouTube? Yeah, I do Whatnot auctions pretty regularly. I do them pretty much every week, about every week and a half or so. It's just really tough because you're competing against a lot of other places, but you get more people interested in buying. That's kind of the trade-off. To Comic Journey's point here, you would probably save a ton in YouTube auction and Whatnot fees, just a lot more work for you. So the real benefit with Whatnot is they cover all the customer service angle of things. You have kind of a built-in advertising for one thing, and you have sort of like they cover shipping. That's another thing. So to me, it does actually kind of work out for the most part. But I'm not opposed to doing a YouTube auction. I think that they're kind of like different things, right? Like, plus you have like a built-in timer function. The way you like, so the way I do YouTube auctions is different than like a lot of people like Very Gary or whatever, where they're like, friends and family need the money. Like, I invoice you through PayPal. So you're protected as a buyer. So I wait for that payment till after the auction, essentially. So some may think the post may come off as, yeah, I'm sure some people think that, I'm sure. But I don't know. Like, no matter what I do, like, there's people that think that There's people I think think that I make the top 5 not to buy videos to drive prices down so I can buy the books. No, I don't do that. No matter what I do, there's people that assume I have some kind of ulterior motive. And you know, I'm big on the transparency. Like I said earlier in this video, in this stream, there are things that I do where money is a second or third consideration, like a sponsorship or something like that. And I am very upfront about that partnership and what that does for me. So you can make that decision. I'm not perfect. I'm sure there's things I've forgotten about or didn't realize the ramifications that I was talking about or whatever. But I'm not like going to sit here and try to falsely communicate to people. It's not part of who I am. Doesn't mean I'm perfect. I'm sure I'm going to accidentally falsely communicate about my motives or what I'm trying to do at times. But yeah, that's the thing is I definitely don't have that much power. I definitely don't. I mean, you know, you're talking about my videos were my best videos, and very few of them have more than 5,000 views, maybe. And then you're talking about these channels that make, here's the top 10 comics you should buy, those kinds of videos, and they get, you know, 10 to 15,000 views every week on those videos, right? Like it's, and by the way, more power to people that make those videos. I don't mind that they do it. I just think there should be a counterpoint out there, and that's what I tried to do. You seem straight edge and not a pothead. You know, straight edge is kind of a loaded term. Like, I don't know exactly what you mean by straight edge. I don't know. Part of how I come across is years and years and years of like retail and customer service. And so I have like a persona that's like the public that I kind of settle into automatically. In a more casual setting, I'm probably a little bit less, I don't know, I guess straight edge seeming or whatever. But I like to cut loose, man. You know, when it comes, I don't drink very much, but I like to make good cocktails every once in a while. The smoking thing. Yeah, I mean, I do. Like I said, I ran dispensaries. I definitely done some of that stuff, but it's not a big part of who I am. It's just something I do. Like, to me, like, I view cannabis and alcohol as similar things, although I think cannabis is a less destructive thing than alcohol, personally, and that's just my viewpoint. But yeah, I try to live life my way. That's the only way I can really put it. Please do. I really want to understand what you meant. Sorry I didn't get it in the show. Yeah, that's just so funny. It's so true too. All right, well, we're probably gonna wrap it up here. I'll give you like a 30-second countdown to ask me any more questions or whatever you might want to ask. Yeah, 100%. That, yeah, and I mean, the thing about smoking, you know, or however you want to take it, is it affects different people differently as far as like what it means for their lifestyle. For me, it's just kind of like a de-stressor for me. That's the biggest thing. There are periods in my time where I used it a lot, but for me, it's pretty similar to like how I view alcohol. Like, I have alcohol like, probably like once a month, maybe. I'm not a big drinker. And I'm not a big smoker either. Definitely went through periods of my life where I was, for sure, when I was younger. But for me, like, a lot of it is like focus, clarity, motivation, creativity, and de-stressing, for sure. But I live in Washington, man. Like, we're kind of into it up here, I guess, a lot more. Like, you know, a lot of and I live in the country too. A lot of people out here grow it, you know, and they're people that you wouldn't stereotypically think of as doing that. Yeah, I mean, don't do drugs, don't do alcohol, don't do Tylenol, don't do caffeine, don't do any drugs, right, Comic Journey? I don't know, man. Everything in moderation. Moderation. I think a lot of people have problems with substances, and boy, that is a really serious problem for a lot of people. Um, but yeah, caffeine is my drug for sure. I'm like a 3 cup of coffee a day guy now, and a cup, I mean like a mug, and it's bad. Yeah, same here. Same here. I actually there's a really kick-ass what was the That's something I sent my wife earlier. I want to make sure I get the quote right. The most dangerous drinking game is seeing how long I can go without coffee. Yeah, and that's part of it too, is Washington, Colorado like practically beat us to the punch, but on the same day that Colorado legalized cannabis sales, Washington did too, even though it took Washington longer to come out with the implementation of that system. Colorado was first to market or whatever. It was the same day, and boy, what a tangent for the end of the show. Whatever your thoughts are on cannabis, if you think alcohol should be legal, cannabis should be legal. Yeah, I cannot be convinced that alcohol is a more acceptable drug, and that's what it is, than cannabis. It's a real tough sell to me to try to convince me of that. Now, if you say that you don't think either should be legal, that's a conversation I'm also willing to have with you. I don't personally agree with prohibition. I don't think prohibition works. But that is for sure true. Moderation is one of the keys to life. And that, by the way, I can make jokes about cannabis. I can make jokes about caffeine. Whatever. Here really is the real truth. I'm addicted to food. I'm straight up addicted to food. I don't moderate at all when it comes to food. I do moderate, I think, pretty well, cannabis, alcohol, caffeine, for the most part. By the way, when it comes to cannabis, I literally didn't have any for 2 years, very recently, very, very recently. And before that, I think there was like a period for like 3 years where I didn't do it in my adult life. Like it's not something I have to have. And that, I think, is kind of one of the important hallmarks of it. But if you become addicted to anything, food, caffeine, sugar, alcohol, it doesn't matter what it is, it's a problem. Addiction is a problem. And if you do have those kind of problems, definitely seek some help, or try to figure out strategies to help yourself. Real talk. I guess to be that way. Real talk right there. Gus, bringing in the truth. Addicted to New Comic Book Day. Yep, I agree. Yeah, I pretty much agree with that. Like, I think it's better to legalize certain things and have it be somewhat controlled and have support systems in place than to drive people to dangerous black markets to acquire things where things aren't regulated, where, and I think this is true. Boy, we're getting really off topic here. I think this is true for everything from prostitution to cannabis sales to alcohol to pharmaceuticals. Anyways, that's just what I believe. I believe live and let live. Yeah, I mean, that's definitely an interesting topic. Why did we get here? I should probably pull us back. I'm addicted to good conversations. And on that note, I think we are going to wrap it up. So anybody have any non addiction related topics they want to talk about? Here's some real talk. Why is it okay to allow idiots like me to smoke cigarettes and draw the line on everything else? And that's, yeah, cigarettes. Isn't that funny? I didn't even mention cigarettes. It's interesting. Say goodnight, Gracie. Getting the wrap it up box, from the channel members. So, oh man, comic book smells, old book smells. I love going into like an antique store or whatever. I go into a lot of them and look for comic books, of course. I mean, among other things, and then finding like an old book that has that musty paper smell to it. I know it's probably like mold or something. It's probably not good for you, but I fucking love it. Favorite smell ever. And it's the same thing. If you pull out like a Bronze Age book that hasn't been rebagged and boarded for a while, man, it has that odor. That has brought back some hella good memories for me. Yeah, absolutely. Cut back a little bit if you can, if you feel like you need to. If you're fine, then you're fine. But I made a video about that. The paper piles up. Okay, so we're gonna end the show. No, nothing wrong with that. If I could make that a cologne, I would do that. So we're gonna wrap up the show here and say goodbye to everybody. Long rambling stream. I feel like to a certain extent I owe you guys when I don't have a live stream or videos for a while. So that's kind of what I wanted to do today, and mission accomplished. Hopefully we had some new people come into the chat. We got optional choices in the chat now. So absolutely. Mission accomplished. We'll catch you guys all later. I'm about ready to lose my voice too, so I'm probably just going to call it a day and not do my standard outro, which is really awkward to do on a live show anyway. But what I will tell you is to make careful decisions on your comic book buying habits. Don't let the FOMO take over. And also all those social channels I talked about earlier, Instagram, Discord, any of those kind of places. I'd love to come see you, hang out, and talk and share your new comic book hauls or talk about what's going on and what's on your mind. I'd love to continue that conversation in those places with you guys. Thanks so much for being a part of this show. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and I'll catch you in the next one. Until then, I want you to remember to read comic books every day. Later, guys.